My name is Andrew Ascough, and I was the camera A operator on Playing Ourselves. Yeah, the part of the story that really connects to me is Charlie's character and how he, I guess, struggles to find balance in his relationship with Daisy. I feel like we all have friendships and work relationships and other more complicated relationships that we struggle with in life. And I guess I just related to how he was struggling to find his place with Daisy. So on set, my main job was just to make sure that the camera was in place, recording when it was supposed to be recording, and that the movements were fluid and smooth and according to what the director and DP wanted. I had 2 to 3 ACs depending on what day we were shooting, which was really, really handy because I didn't have to build the camera as much as I used to on other sets when I was primarily operating on my own. The main heavy lifting of the shoot was when we were shooting on the Ronin. We were shooting on a mechanical stabilization device called the Ronin, and we had an easy rig for it, which is an arm that reaches over my back, and that made it a little easier to operate because it took some of the Y weight off my shoulders, but it was also just very difficult to balance though as well with the easy rig because it kind of put a bit of a strain between the natural balance on my arms and then like this artificial kind of pull. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it was really difficult. Yeah, but mainly on set I needed to listen to Brigitte, the DP, and make sure that things were set up and in place, and then also just to focus really hard on nailing the framing, making sure that things were out of shot, and like picking up little things. Like there are a lot of different things that I'll be doing secondary to my main job, which is keeping things framed and in focus. Yeah, so working with Brigitte was great. She had a really good solid plan before hopping on set. Nick and Brigitte were very well structured with how they wanted to shoot. The shot sheets were all perfect and in place, which was really handy because I worked on many sets, especially student sets, where people just kind of throw the shot sheet out. My sets, sorry everybody who works on my sets, where the shot sheet is just thrown out. But it was nice to have a format to work with. And the great thing about it is we had A cam and B cam. So for some of the stuff that we really wanted to just get off the cuff and throw the shot sheet out for, we could do that with B cam. And B cam had a lot of creative freedom to do that, while A cam was nailing all of the main stuff, the really important stuff, the most important stuff. The most important stuff. Cool. I'm looking at you, B cam. Each location, well, first of all, the locations were very well chosen. I believe that they put a lot of effort into picking those locations. But also, when you ask me about the locations and what I thought of all of them, it's kind of a blur because I was really I was working hard, really focused. So I was just kind of I was thrown into a location. I'd do my job and I'd be thrown out and I'd just show up somewhere else. I was like, wow, did I teleport? It kind of happens with those student projects because, you're working really hard and you're staying really focused. And especially when you're operating camera and moving it around. And like the first day in Balboa Park when we were filming in the forest and in the general area of the park with the flowers, I didn't have any ACs that day. So I was setting up and breaking down camera pretty much on my own. I had help from some of the other people on set, which was really great. But I was a lot more focused on those days. But then after Balboa, we got some gorgeous shots in Balboa. Like the stuff through the flowers was particularly my favorite. The picnic scene was great too. I really enjoyed that, getting the close-ups on the sides as well. It was kind of hard choosing a wide angle for that because there were just so many good angles. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. But then the other set, so the Juniper House, that was pretty good. There was good space to put gear. It was actually really fun because it was like all my best friends had a house together for like a day or two, and I can't remember how many days we had. I think it was a day or two. I don't know. I think it was a day. But we had that whole space to ourselves, and we could just move around and film as we please. And we also had downtime, so it was a lot of fun. And then we had a shoot day in a motel. I remember that was a tight squeeze. I remember we had all of the camera gear stationed in this like bedroom back behind the living room space and the kitchen space, and everybody was like inching past all the gear, and I was like keeping a close eye on people walking by the lenses and stuff. Like, I was just trying to make sure everything was safe over there. But my ACs did a great job of keeping all that clean and tidy and out of the way, so I wasn't worried about it for long. Well, our DIT Joe Graves got put in the bathroom at the motel when we were filming at the motel, and it was really funny because it was kind of odd looking. He'd be sitting on the closed toilet lid, transferring footage, and he had a whole setup. It looked like some sort of like hacker's spot, and like it was just really uncomfortable because if someone needed to go to the bathroom, they didn't want to like move DIT, so it was just kind of like, oh well, I guess I'll just. We're holding for the day, boys. But it was really funny because there wasn't much space. There really wasn't much space. We were crammed, and that's why Joe was put in the bathroom, and the rest of us were just crammed around the rest of the house. But I think it's funny the way he got his little office, his oval office. So everything happened really quick with this particular incident on set. We were filming a scene where our lead Charlie was breaking a lamp in frustration. And we did one take, and he broke the lamp and everything like that, and it worked. Like the take worked, but we had two lamps, and why not break two lamps? We have two lamps, we have two chances at it, and like there was like one or two things that I think the director wanted to tweak. So we went to reshoot that take, and in the middle of the take, he went to throw the lamp, but it didn't break, and it was on the floor, so he went to stomp on it, and I believe that in trying to stomp it, he lifted his knee up and put his head forward and gashed his nose. He broke his nose at the top of the bridge. And nobody really realized at first that he'd actually broken his nose. Like, it seemed like, he maybe just kind of like bumped himself or like whatever, and he just needed a moment. But he was leaning over and he was like, oh my gosh, it's really bad. And I was holding the red scarlet on my shoulder, and I was I was kind of loaded up, but I had like prior experience with first aid. I'm not certified or anything anymore, but I had prior experience, so I just threw the camera to my AC, who was great to take it. Lucas took it immediately. He was on standby, and then I went over, and Gigi, one of our PAs, was already getting him tissue, and his nose was definitely broken. So we rushed him outside. Megan, our producer, came with us, and then Nick followed as well, and we got him into a car immediately and rushed him off to hospital, where we kind of like sat around and joked with some of the people in the emergency room, and then he got put in the back room, and they checked him out, and he seemed to be okay. He was it wasn't a serious break, thankfully. It was just one of those ones where you can kind of pop it back into place, although it doesn't sound like much fun either way. But no, it was a very sudden, very fast thing. Like, you don't expect those things to happen, especially on like a little drama set. Like, I've worked on action films, I've worked on dystopian post-apocalyptic films in the desert, shout out, and like, I haven't ever seen anything like that happen on a set. So it's something that you prepare for, of course, but you don't expect it to happen, especially on those sets. And so it was a real shock, a real surprise, especially to the director and producer. But the way that it was handled was incredible. People gave him his space. Megan, our producer, was very quick to find the quickest route to the hospital, and we got him on his way. And he was very well spirited. Something that I really do remember about Christian's character is just that he was a very tempered man. He's a very tempered man in that moment. Like, he wasn't angry. He was shocked, and I'd say a bit frustrated, but he wasn't expressing any like anger. I was like patting him on the back. I was sitting with him in the back of the car. I was like, hey man, like, if you're angry, like, you can shout or whatever. I don't know, like, it's okay. Like, I just wanted to make sure that he was okay and everything. But he was very well tempered and took it very well, and was very very patient as we got him to the hospital. So and then also the other lead, Daisy, she came along to the hospital as well, and we all sat together and we just hung out and chatted. And it was a really great time, actually, sitting in the emergency waiting room with Nick, the director, with Tom Zupish, and with Megan Woodard and Daisy, and our lead, Rachel. And it was really great because we all bonded together over that, and I think it was a really good experience. But also, like, I'm not saying that it's a good thing that happened, but good things came from it, and we were able to shoot the next week, thankfully. Yeah. Shooting in the art center was great. We had a massive setup. We had great control over the lights as well because we had people working at the art center who were helping us move the rigs and turning them on and off, switching gels. They were fantastic. They were really, really helpful. And like it was great because they were interested in what we were doing. I remember Natalie, one of the women who was working there, she was on the floor a lot helping us, helping communicate with Brigitte, our DP, and like I got to talk to her a bit, and she was really excited to be on set and to watch us make that film, and she was really surprised. She was kept saying like, "Wow, I'm so surprised that you're all so young. You're all in school. Like this is more professional than most of the video, like the video sets and the film sets that come through here and film in our sound stage." And I was like, I felt really proud of the team because the team was working really hard and everybody there like knows how to have fun but also knows how to be very professional. And on set there, like the stage crew, the people working at the art center, at the theater, had fun but also got to experience the professionalism of JP Catholic students on set. So that was great. Also, just having that space. Oh my gosh! For camera, we had our own room. We had a huge green room to put all the gear, and we had all this space in the world. So that was fantastic. All my ACs had a comfortable environment to work in, which made me a lot happier because I like it when my ACs are happy. I like to keep my boys all all happy because a good happy team is always the best way to have the team. So yeah, there was a great it was a great environment to work in, and it felt really comfortable and it was great. On the set of Playing Ourselves, there was a very good balance of humor and professionalism, and there always is with the friends I work with here at JP Catholic. I've always had a very good experience on set, especially with Nick and Christian and Preston and all the guys, because we're good friends outside of these film sets. Like we're not just showing up and filming together. It's not like maybe a client project that you might do where you just mingled with people you don't know. It's great to have a crew, a family that you're working with. So we're all like a family. We like to pick on each other. We like to support each other and encourage each other. So like there'll be people throwing compliments at shots or how someone's looking on set, and then also people like throwing private jokes at you about camera A team and B team and all that rivalry. But there's also just I think it's really important when you're working on a set that everybody feels good and everybody's, or as best you can, you make each other feel good. You make each other feel confident and just comfortable on set, because people work best when they're comfortable. When they're not panicking about social situations, they can work better. I find for myself, I like to make a lot of puns on set, and people probably find it to be a little much, but nobody tells me to stop. So I just crack them all day. And actually, I was taking puns from our set. And then from other senior project sets and just bringing them onto our set. So when we were all really tired at the end of the day of working, I'd be like, "Oh man, we're all so dead, but not as dead because there's another senior project called Dead." And then also I have another one. There's another senior project going on at the same time called After You. And then I'd hold the door for people and just be like, "After you, after you, after you," until someone gets it. Nobody got it. Yeah. No, I have two. So we're working with the Red Scarlet, and every day I would ask my crew, "Are you ready to get started?" And then also, I had one for the lenses as well. We were working with Zine lenses, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, these are the best lenses I've ever seen." So at the end of one of our days filming, we went onto a bus. It was just me, Nick, and the two leads, Daisy and Charlie, and we we just sat at a bus station for a second, hopped on. It was like a $2 bus ride, and we just started filming like a bunch of stuff. It's a part of the sequence where they draw on each other's wrists like their initials. So it's this little cute moment, and it was really great because like we just had like one bag and my Ursa Mini Pro, and we just throw a bunch of different lenses on it like on the bus ride and get a bunch of these shots. And it was really interesting though, because people around us were like really intrigued as to what was going on, but also like a lot of them just didn't want to say anything, but we could tell that they were looking at us. So it was a little uncomfortable, but we were so focused on what we were doing that we were just getting the shots. And like Nick, the director, was like looking at the bus driver and then looking back and then looking at the bus driver and then looking back, just seeing like, because we didn't know if it was okay or not. Maybe we cut that out. But yeah, no, filming on the bus was great. We got a load of really nice shots. We shot it at sunset, so like as we were driving through the tunnels and like past other like bridges and like buildings, like the light would flicker and shine. And then there was also a moment where the bus was driving by and the sun was on the opposite side of where we were shooting, and the sun was reflecting down onto this building across the road and back into the bus, and it looked beautiful. So we got a lot of really nice stuff on the bus. And then when we got back, we had an apartment scene later on down in San Diego, and we couldn't get the close up of them writing the initials. So we went down to this apartment, and after we filmed our scenes there, we got an LED light, and we had it like bright orange, kind of like sunset color. And our gaffer Michael Yahada got like a sweater, and like started waving it in front of the light, and we just like went over their shoulder, and we went on like an 85mm lens. It was really tight on their wrists, and I kind of shook it like I was on a bus. I shook the camera like I was on the bus, and with the light flickering and everything, it looked like they were on the bus again. So we have a matching shot that wasn't taken on the bus of them writing the initials on their wrists, and I think that was really cool. It was a very creative makeup shot. Working with Nick is always a great pleasure. Not as only is he a great director, but he's just a great friend. And we have a lot of fun on set, and we can poke fun at each other, but also just I love seeing his work come to life, and I love watching him work with actors. I learned so much myself as a growing director, watching him take his actors aside, walk them through things, blocking things out. So I always feel honored to be on his sets. Also, he treats his crew and cast with utmost respect. He's a gentleman on set, so I always just love working with him. Yeah, working with my ACs on set was fantastic. So for the first weekend, I had Lucas Hamilton, and JP Poirier was on set as BCAM assistant, but he was also kind of jumping between because we had some bigger Ronin shots to do, and he would help us with that. And then on the second weekend, Lucas Hamilton had a friend down from LA. His name was Walker, and he was absolutely fantastic as well. My assistant camera team they were still learning. They're freshmen for the most part, and they were learning how to like build and break down the red camera and like work on the shoulder mounts and the Ronin as well. Like they could set that Ronin up in about 15-20 minutes. It was absolutely phenomenal. Like they learned so quickly, and I was really proud to have a team working with me that was so competent and passionate to get things done. And also like it's great because they want to be camera operators and DPs and everything like that as well, so they're paying attention to what I'm doing and what Brigid is doing, what Nick's doing, and they get to learn a lot as well. But they also they're a lot of fun to have, and they're such hard workers. So I was really impressed with their work. The rivalry with Camera B Team? Oh, there's rivalry? Oh, I didn't know there was any rivalry, because like how could there be? It's A Team. Like there's no way that B Team could ever come near A Team. Like they like whatever, like draw like stickers or some little cute stickers, and they try to stick them on people like without consent, and I'm just like, yo, like you should probably ask people if you're gonna put stickers on them, because like nobody wants to look like an idiot, am I right? So like they have all these stickers, and we're just like, okay, well, if you want to put stickers on your head and on your camera and like block the fans, big whoop, I don't know, but we know who we are. A-Team knows that they've got the firepower, so bring it. So the greatest challenge ultimately that I had on set, which is always a challenge that camera department has, is just communication with the DP, and it was just because the DP was so like focused with the director, and like especially when we were filming at the stage, when we were filming at the theater, the arts theater, she was really focused on getting those lights together. So I had to be really like ready for her to just like throw things at me like real briefly and like know what she wanted and just set it up, because it was really hard, because it was really quick communication, especially on those days. But ultimately it went really smoothly there. Another challenge though that we faced was the Ronin. The Ronin is always the bane of my existence on set. It does great stabilization at times, but at the same time, like I would prefer a glide cam or a fly cam or something like that. But it's all right because my ACs were really quick at building it, and they knew how to like fix things when we had problems. Another issue though that we faced was the follow focus. We had a DJI follow focus, but some of the lenses we were working with Zeiss lenses the second weekend, and then some of them were a little stiff, and the DJI follow focus would lose its thread, and we'd have to really like press it together. And yeah, it was just a little difficult working with some of the gear. But like the team was great, so we worked past all that. Another main challenge was just when we were doing the first day of shooting, we were doing a lot of montage stuff. I was carrying the red around on my own pretty much, and it was heavy. There was a lot of work to be done there. But like the team is really supportive, and they were very efficient. Brigitte and Nick were very efficient at setting up their shots and telling me what they wanted. So like it wasn't that bad at all. Like this has probably been one of the easiest sets I've ever worked on in a certain sense. But also there were long days, and but that's a film set. I think my favorite moment, as weird as it is, was in the emergency room when we were all just like sitting together and talking about how we grew up, and like what we liked and what food we liked and whatnot, like all that random talk that me, Nick, Meg, Tom, and Rachel had while we were waiting for Christian to come out. I think it was a real bonding moment because we were all kind of at like a desperate stage. We were waiting to hear back if Christian was going to be good to shoot next weekend, pretty much. And I just felt very close to those people, and it was great. It was great just getting to know them that bit better. Yeah, it was great getting to know Nick and Meg better and the rest of them, because like ultimately when you're working on a set, you don't really get to talk for long periods of time, and you're working really hard and you're just kind of trying to push through the day. But it was great to get like a breather in a sense, kind of, as weird as that sounds, in the emergency room, but that was nice. Also, I really enjoyed getting to know the cast. The cast were fantastic. Rachel and Christian were great people to have on set. They were a lot of fun. I could like just chat to them. I made really good friends with them. We all liked the same music, so the three of us got on really, really well. And it was really cool, like being behind the camera, because if they ever had like a little question, like, is my hair okay? Like, what? I'd be like, yeah, you're good. So we'd have that little bit of connection. I'm like, am I in your way a little bit? Is this okay? So like there was good communication between me and cast for the most part, I feel. And yeah, it was great to get to know them. They were really like happy, fun people. The main thing that I learned on playing ourselves is that you got to be prepared for pretty much anything. So in particular with that incident where Christian hit his nose, like you got to be ready to face the worst on pretty much any set, because it's life and things happen in life, good things and bad. And I learned from Nick and Megan that it's just like you've got to take it on the chin, take it on the cuff, whatever way you got to take it, but take it well, and try to move past and problem solve, because that's what filmmaking is ultimately. It's problem solving, for the most part, on set anyway. On set, filmmaking is problem solving, and that's the game, and you've got to be good at it.